welcome back to VOP this morning. Vice President Kashim Shettima says the federal government will ensure quick access to single-digit loans for Nigerian small businesses. Now, the Vice President made this pledge on Tuesday in a message to mark the 2023 World Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise MSME Day. Now, he said the federal government was aware of the impact of fuel subsidy removal on MSMEs and was working towards addressing it. Nigeria is home to many SMEs, most of whom are struggling due to the absence of critical infrastructure and a very high cost of doing business. Well, I have with me in the studio, staying with me for this conversation, I have Dr. Olawale Olatubi and John Akirile, a public affairs commentator, joining us virtually. So, good morning once again.
Good morning.
Thanks for staying with us for this part of the show.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And good morning to you, John Akirile.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, then. So let me start with you, John. Single interest loans for MSMEs. Sounds good, doesn't it?
Yes, I think it sounds good, but I think we've had something like this in the past. And the only thing we can believe now is when the implementation is done and true MSMEs and SMEs can actually access this loan. And that's when we can really say that, yes, this is not only a lip service or it's just a media trial, so to say.
Yeah.
So for me, I think it's the right way to go. But if you remember, this is not the first time we haven't saw something like that come up as proclamations. So I think in another way, it shows that this administration means well. I think they've started on a good note. But then I don't want to be overexcited now, but I want us to wait till the time when this is actually executed. And then the SMEs actually feel the impact. They have access to funds. They can get the funds easily. Businesses can thrive. And the economy can start building up again. That is when I can now believe for a fact that yes, there's going to be a fast track system from the federal government. But for now, to me, it's still a lip service.
All right then. Now you do know that the VP said access to these loans should be a game changer, but he didn't say how. Do you think this is something that can be done?
Yeah, it can be done. It's a good initiative, but the implementation is what we're waiting for, how it's going to be done. And what I think should be done again is actually focusing on factors on how to make sure that these businesses thrive better. Because I can tell you that the SMEs actually contribute to 50% of Nigerians' GDP. And because most organizations in Nigeria are still falling under the category of SMEs. So they should actually do more things too. And what are the factors affecting these SMEs? One of the things is infrastructure, poor infrastructures. The exchange rate is bad. Another thing that is even affecting these SMEs is poor business ideas, poor business knowledge. Most of these SMEs don't really understand how to do business. So they don't even know how to move their business from micro to small, moving from small to medium. So those kind of things they should even try to do for these people. Also, again,
but that's not in the purview of the government.
Yeah, the government can do this too, actually, by even giving proper formal education. You know, when most people come out and say, I'm CEO, without a proper formal education, they don't really understand the basis of having to run a business. So when there's correct formal education, proper formal education, giving them, even if you've not gone to school, you can still go back to school and learn more about this business. It's an idea for them to strive more. So I think these are the things they should really focus on, how to make sure that, because I can tell you for free that most SMEs actually struggle to survive after 5 years in Nigeria.
Why so?
Because of the economy. It's bad. Apart from the economy being bad, the government is even still putting more pressure. Government parastatals, how will I put it, agencies, putting them fees, you must pay this more, you must pay. Most of them can't afford to pay these fees and they also have to go back. So those are the things they should work on, are the factors affecting this SME business from striving. Then they cannot talk about giving them loan.
All right then. Let me come to you now, John. We do know that single-digit loans. Yes, that's one thing. The amount of taxes coming up can actually strangulate these loans. Now, how do we manage this?
I think the first thing we need to do first is to look at different sectors of SMEs, look at different things that are causing challenges for each sector, and see how the government can, bring succor in terms of reducing some of this hardship for SMEs.
Bring succor. What kind of succor?
Let me be clear with you on that.
All right, go ahead.
So for those people in the logistics business who are doing dispatch riding services, you see that if you check their documentation, it's as if it's like a portfolio of a professor. And these are different documents. As a matter of fact, some of them are even the same copy, but from different agencies of the government. And each and every time you have all of these bikes having different documentations. So it is like multiplicity of governmental agencies. The problem. Okay, so that needs to be checked and needs to be looked into. Another thing I think we can also look into is the fact that the government needs to have a net that will take over every that would encompass all SMEs according to their local government or place of operation. By so doing, you can say for yourself, if we're giving 100 million naira to SMEs in the Koshofe local government, we know those who are operating in the Koshofe local government, and these funds can be disbursed to them directly without any middleman. Okay. So let's not make this look like the same anchor borrowers program that we said we have empowered over 1 million farmers, and yet we are seeing the crisis. So this is something that we need to look into so that it doesn't go the same way. But on the other hand, I think what my brother was trying to say earlier was that we should have more like a training center, more like a business development unit. And I think if government can have tax agencies that even collect tax, they should have all this business development unit as well, where people can come in, for advisory services, where people can come in, to see how they can learn on two things, on how they can upscale their businesses. That I think is what the government should and can do. Okay, we have Lagos Business School, but not every SMEs or even micro business owners can afford to attend Lagos Business School. So, but can the government come up with something, more smaller that can narrow down to their own specificities, in terms of their own area of challenges? And if we start doing all of these things, you see that we are putting the right things in place. We have more entrepreneurs spring up. We have some of these people employ 2-3 people, and the rate of unemployment will reduce drastically, and the GDP will go up. And so that's just the way to go. Check other economies of the world that are doing well. They have this infrastructural development for their SMEs, and that's why they are doing well. So we also should take a play from that. Let's stop playing lip services. Let's have the political will, to follow our words through. If we are giving proclamations, we are making promises to them. Let's make sure that we back it by actions, and that these proclamations get to reality, and people can benefit then, and then can they say they have actually spoken.
All right then. Well, we know that in the past we've seen things like trader money, things like that, handouts basically that were supposed to help alleviate, help cushion some sort of problem and help the small businessman or to have something to put back into the business, but it hasn't really worked. It hasn't worked, because we see that the business still crumbles.
Yeah.
All right. Now, so what would you say is the fastest route to keeping SMEs alive, just beside giving them single interest loans?
Okay.
No. I'm asking you now. I'll come back to you, John.
The fastest route, if I just want to say that, apart from giving them loans, the fastest route is just working on the economy.
Working on the economy. How? When you say work.
Making sure that they have a proper infrastructure to work with.
Okay.
Power supply, one of the major things. If you improve power supply, SMEs will not even, they won't waste money buying fuel, buying diesel and everything. There was a time when there was fuel scarcity. There was an increase in diesel, I think. Most organizations stopped working, probably they closed by 3 instead of 5. They were like, so that you couldn't work at that time. So most of them even said they were working Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday. So all these things, power supply, one of the major things. Exchange rate, another thing that is really affecting the economy too. If there is proper exchange, the exchange rate is even very good for them to transact
Do
business. It's another thing they can do for them. But I think all this trader loan, money loans, it's not working. You can't give me money and just say I want to pay back. They're still going to pay back this money back. So, they're supposed to pay back this money. And when there is no proper economy for you to invest this money in and get your money back and even be able to pay back the money, it's just wasting money. So instead of doing these things repeatedly, let the politicians, the government work on how to make sure that there's a proper environment for this business to thrive in. And you see how they will get the benefit from it, because if the business are thriving well, rate of employment will increase, because the SMEs are actually the highest recruiters of employers. And so employment rate will increase, rate of unemployment will actually decrease. So the GDP too will be increased. And everybody's okay. It's a win-win solution, it's a win-win thing now. Give us a good playing ground for us to play, and we'll play well, you get the reward. Simple.
All right, John, now I'm going to ask you the same question. Fastest route to keeping SMEs alive. What do you think they are? Besides the loan, of course. All right, let's have your hold on, John. Your microphone is on mute, so we can barely hear you. Go ahead now, please.
Okay, so if you can hear me, what I'm saying is it's quite simple, for us to look at it in such a way that let's have products according to locality. We have a pure water factory, that can supply 10 streets in Koshofe. I think that's a good way to go. Okay? And let's not have more. Okay? Now, let these pure water factories have their people, their staffs employed from Koshofe. So what will that do for you? That will reduce the cost of transporting themselves to work every day. Okay? What also can you do? You are sure that you know the number of people that are employed in that locality and number of people that are unemployed in that locality. So government can keep track of employment rates and unemployment rates and even underemployment rates. If that has been set aside, when government bring all of the parameters that can make a business environment conducive, what do you have? You have a case where everybody smiles to the bank. Your tax revenue, will also be increased because more people will pay tax. Imagine people who are working, workers will pay their tax, employers will pay their tax, companies will pay their tax. So government will have more money, to run the system, and at the end of the day, you see that we just have my brother said. But the problem we've been having is that our government are not ready to invest in all of these infrastructures. Okay? And that is a bigger problem. Okay? So for us, if we are truly ready, number one is that we must have database of all SMEs. That's the first way. That's the first way. So that you know the number of people you are planning for. Okay? Now, two is you can enter into an agreement with your power generation, transmission, and distribution of electricity. Okay, this region, this is where we have our business hubs. Can we keep them light from 8 a.m. in the morning till 6 p.m. in the evening? Because by 6 p.m. they are closed for business of the day. Okay, so if you can look at where they have, look at the clusters of their area, then enter an agreement with your electricity distribution company to give them this light for this period of operation. And then if they have that, they can function maximally. And when they are off work, they know that they can take out the light and give to the residential. Do you understand? So it's a balanced system where when you're at work, you have light to work. When you are at home, you have light to relax. Unlike you are at work, you run on gen, you are at home, there's no light. So these are ways I think we can also look at. Second thing we should do is that entrepreneurship development programs should be inculcated into our curriculums right from primary school to secondary school, so that from your child early stage of development, you have it in mind. You have this mindset of an entrepreneur, and that by the time you are done with your school, you can actually venture into it on a large scale. So we must, and that's just the way to go, because these guys are the highest employer. They employ 3 people, and they are millions. Okay, so if you have about 2 million entrepreneurs, employ 3 people, that's about 6 million jobs indirectly, and directly they are feeding their families too. So,
All right, so
not even money.
all right. Thank you very, very much. I'm going to ask the both of you this question as well now, but I'll start with you, Barbarista Olawale. We still have the issue of local government taxation, councilmen going to shops, taxing them. The woman who sits by the roadside, who has an umbrella, has to pay a certain levy. Is that necessary? Do you think that is necessary, and what can be done differently?
To me, it's not necessary, because what is the responsibility of this how is the local government helping this government, this business? It's not necessary. That's why I was saying that the bottleneck these agencies are giving to these SMEs are very high, because if you see a small shop, they show you the receipts of how much they pay monthly for covering this one, radio, it's just too much. And they are not getting any benefit from the local government. Assuming, fine, okay, we are paying this and we are getting this benefit from the local government, it's going to be fine. But this money they are paying, it is too much. If you ask some of them and they'll tell you, we are paying this, we are paying. And if they don't pay, they come, they close their shops, they embarrass them and everything. So I think there should be a regulation to that too, starting from the local government side. This money, okay, just pay one, because I think the local government is not even using it as, okay, this is how we generate revenue. They are just about revenue generation. They are not even about how to even give back to the society, because these people are paying for this. So it is so uncalled for. It is too much. Not only the traders, even drivers that drive from one state to another state, if they show you the receipt of how much they pay for local government this thing, local government, state government this, for each state. I was in talk with one of these interstate truck driver, and he was telling me that for him to enter each state, he has to pay revenue for almost each state, and he has receipts for this state. And if he doesn't pay them, they will not allow his goods to come inside the state. So these things are actually causing a lot of struggle for these business owners. So there should be a regulation to that first thing. I think that should be. It's not necessary.
There should be a regulation.
There should be a regulation.
All right. So John, now let me come to you now, John Akerele. Now, still on the same issue, local government taxing small big business owners. And I don't know if you've seen the movie Gangs of Lagos. That readily comes to mind. At a point where certain young men were asked. Now, this is not the local. This is not the councilmen now or the local government. So they pay to the local government, and they also pay to what you would call. I don't want to call them street urchins. I don't want to call them that. But they are those or monile, or those who say, look, we are protecting you.
Area boys.
Area boys. We are protecting you. Give us 200 naira. Give us. And these monies are paid daily by small business owners. And one wonders how are they able to break even if these things are paid? You can't even advertise freely. Local government council will come for you. If you put out an advert,
A signpost.
A signpost or something, they come for you. So what other measures should be put in place to ensure that, look, the money is made, the loans given are put to good use, and these guys can actually take some money home at the end of the day?
Hey, I think. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I think for me, it's more of a problem. It's more of a problem because if you get to the likes of Kosi Road, you can see clearly that When you get to bus stop, you have people who gives you all sorts of issues. And you ask yourself the question, where is this coming from? Okay. Where is this coming from? They get money for King of Boys, get taxis and all the rest. And at the end of the day, it just shows you the incompetence of the government of the day. Because ordinarily, if you as a government can take hold of all of your revenue generation, then you can know where and where the loopholes are coming from. But in the case where you can't, I'm sorry, that is what you get. So, Owurole, King of Boys, and you're asking yourself, what are these people selling that they are paying all sorts of this money? So these are some of the problems. And this money being collected does not even get to the government.
Now you see those who collect these monies collect it based on the grounds that look, they provide security for the business owners. They protect them. All right? Taking a cue from that movie, we are protecting you. Shouldn't the local council or the market authority be the ones providing security, knowing that the small business person is already paying something to the local council or the government, and inadvertently paying something to the market as well, as against paying to individuals?
That's what I'm saying to you. It's when government are feeling their own responsibilities that all sort of this comes up. If the government is really ready and they are serious about all of these things, I can assure you, when you block all your loopholes, all the money that you pay comes into your purse, you are sure nobody will collect money on your behalf. Why? Because your collecting point also is also porous.
All right then.
Okay? Once people know that once they pay to you, they pay to the government directly. Nobody comes to you. You pay to the government directly. And then the government also provides the good services for the people in return. We are balanced. But in the case where you don't even trust the government don't trust the people, these are what we keep having. So people will come and tell you, okay, we are working for you. How sure are you that they are working for you? So these are some of the questions that we need to
ask
get
ourselves
clear first. But the point is, if you ask all these people who also collect this money, they have affiliation with the government.
Yeah.
Some of them are political errand boys, and they feel that's their own way of being compensated after being, going through the struggle of campaigning for elections. So we must bring up competence in communicating with people, in terms of collection of revenues, in terms of disbursement of revenues, in terms of building infrastructure that will aid the people so that we can all be happy.
All right,
if we don't do that, we are still playing.
All right. They play.
They play, just they play.
Just they play. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, John Akirili, public affairs commentator, for staying with us on the program. And it's amazing how conversations between countries, from Nigeria to other parts of the world, is clearer when you do virtual conversations like this than conversations within the country. I still don't understand why that is so. If you have a call, within
your country, then there's
within the
problem.
country, it's not as clear as when you're having an international call. Oh well, thank you very much, John. Really, that was a clear one there. And big thanks to you, Dr. Olawale Olatubi.
Yeah,
thanks for coming on the program.
It's a pleasure.
All right then. Well, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll get into entertainment and sports. Stay with us.